Hello and welcome to this updated review of the Halot Mage 8K printer by Creality. If you've not seen the original video, why not head over and watch that so you get to see some more on the unboxing and all the features that it has. I've had this for about 4 weeks now, so I just thought I'd share some updates and some of the things that I've learnt about the printer. So first of all, on the no change, there's no updates to the firmware, there's nothing on the website, so we're still just with the ones that came with the printer itself. And in addition to that, there's not been any updates to the Halot box software. It is now uploaded onto the website, so you can download it, but it still has all the same issues as I shared previously in terms of bugs and not being able to reopen projects in the same places. So not great. The upside though is Chitubox has been updated to support this, so if you go and get the version 1.3.1 beta, that does now have a profile for the Halot Mage, as well as being able to export to the correct file type, so that's a great plus. So you can see when you open up this beta version of Chitubox, you can click on the Add Machine, and you can find the Halot Mage and the Halot Mage Pro profiles in there, which is great. And you can see we can export the CXDLPV4 file type, which is required for these printers as well. So that's also really great. So I've had quite a few questions on this print file, which is the default one that comes with the printer on the memory stick. It's 180mm tall, and it took about 18.5 hours to print, but that's using conservative settings that are embedded in the file when it comes from Creality. These feature things such as a 10mm lift height, 6 seconds light off delay. The exposure was pretty good at 1.8 seconds, and I think when I was printing this I reduced the light off delay down to 4 seconds, but that led to a layer to layer time of about 18.5 seconds, which is pretty slow. However, in subsequent prints I've tried some faster settings such as light off delay time to 1 second, reducing the lift height, and I reckon you could actually print this model in about 9 to 10 hours, which is about 20mm per hour print speed, which is pretty good. I've also had a go at printing this scaled down door. You can probably see here there's some very subtle shift lines in the side there, and that's actually because the build plate moved during printing. So as you can see here, we're able to move that when we loosen off the screws. And that's what we would do for the bed leveling. So it's just really important to tighten those up nice and snugly just to stop that moving around. I have done that and printed since then. I've not come across the same issue. So that is just a fault on my side, but something to keep in mind if you're using one of these printers. Just make sure you tighten those bolts right up just to make sure that doesn't move during printing. It hasn't caused any issues with the printer, it's just you can see that it shifted during the model and caused some visual defects there. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. So another thing you can see here is there's some layer lines there. They are really fine. This is really zoomed in on quite a small model. They're only 0.05mm tall. And this is mainly caused by the orientation I had the model in, so less of a printer specific thing, just a general thing. You can see I've used it quite laid down there, whereas I should have stood it up like this, and then you wouldn't actually see those layer lines at all, probably. And if you did, they'd be really subtle. And the final thing I've printed here is a little mini for D&D. You can see there's some great detail there. A few little defects on there, such as powdering and some leftover bits of supports. So that's just on me because I cured it before it fully dried. And also just using some smaller supports would help fix that and give a cleaner model, and spending a bit more time on cleanup as well. But you can see the sort of detail it can produce even on, you know, in the hands of a bit of an amateur. You can see here the size of that, which is really small. I've also had a go at the cones of calibration by Table Flip Foundry, which is a great way of checking your exposure times. So the point here is that the cones on the success side should all print, and the cones on the failure side should all fail. So you can see here, just using the default 1.8 as supplied by Creality, gets all those success cones really nicely there. so that's a good plus. And you can see some good detail on the lettering, and you can see I've got a little bit of one of the cones there on the failure side, just indicating I can probably actually take that exposure time down for the Creality rigid grey. You can also see I've yanked a chunk off the bottom here, which indicates that I've probably got too long an initial exposure time on those bottom layers. So that's something I can reduce for later as well. So all positive stuff really. It means I can run the printer faster than originally expected. That's it really for the Creality printer. If you've got any extra questions, why not ask them in the comments below. And if not, if you could like and subscribe and ring the bell, that would just really help me in terms of growing the channel and producing more content. Thanks a lot.